This is the Marvel Masterworks vidcast, True Believers, where we cover all of the adventures in the Marvel Universe. From the wanderings of the Green Goliath, to the chaotic offices of the Daily Bugle, to the grim alleyways of Hell's Kitchen, and to the top of Avengers Tower. With your hosts, Adam and Chris.
Welcome to another episode of Marvel Masterworks vidcast and podcast. As always, I'm your host, Adam, and with me is my co-host, Chris. Chris, how's it going?
Doing pretty well today. How about you?
I'm doing well.
Are you doing excellent?
Well, not quite, but we are talking about something excellent. And that is, of course, we're continuing our coverage of the fantastic, because I already said excellent, X-Men 97.
Astonishing.
I should have used that. But yes, you're right about that. And we're going to cover another 3 episodes today. We finished off episode 3 last time. So we're going to do another 3 more, so that'll take us from 4 through 6 of the series. Before that, as we always do on these shows, if there is news regarding the IP or the brand that we are discussing, we will share the news with you and then share our thoughts. That's what we're going to do now. Chris, you surprised me with some interesting news about, first and foremost, X-Men 97. So tell us what that is. So
with it being such a success, there's been so many rumors around, and I dig one rumor, I don't dig the other. So let's go with the one I don't like first. One of the rumors is that Kevin Feige, due to the success of this, is considering making X-Men 97 and by extension X-Men, the original series, part of the canon for the MCU versions of the X-Men, which would tie them together, of course. I'm not high on this one myself, just because with the original series they covered so much ground. It's hard to go back and say, okay, well, we're going to redo it, even though that's continuity. Like, I don't want to see the Dark Phoenix storyline again anyway, but I like the idea that it could happen. They also used a legacy virus. I'm a big fan of legacy virus storyline. That's something we wouldn't see again. The Mutant Massacre, everything we've seen in X-Men 97, it would just kind of put them in a hole or against a wall if they do this. But again, it's just a rumor. What do you think about it?
I mean, my thought is, again, it could be a situation where, where they pick and choose, aspects of X-Men 97 to plug. Mm-hmm. So, like, the character interpretations, the look of the characters, that sort of thing. Where, as opposed to them taking direct history and pulling it in and say, this is all, up until this point, this is all the X-Men's history. Because again, then what you're saying is true. We've taken out a lot of events that could play out in movies.
Even Days of Future Past, which we've already seen on screen, but still.
Right, but it's been, it's been how many years? Mm-hmm. We're going to get elements of stories that we've seen again in some way, shape, or form in the MCU. It's just inevitable. Like, it's bound to happen, right? So, but to take that much story potential off the board, because it already exists, and then just go do your homework and launch on Disney Plus. That's the aspect I don't like. But the idea of potentially taking, again, character, aspects of the character, portrayals, personalities, and visual looks, that I'm a fan of.
I like that too.
So it's like a hybrid. I'll give me a happy medium of, don't use everything as the canon for the MCU, everything from X-Men 97 and the previous show as canon for the MCU live action versions, but use certain aspects.
I think that, them making the jump to the MCU, we're going to get certain stuff anyway. Like, we've already seen, which we'll get to, Wolverine and Deadpool Wolverine is wearing the iconic costume.
Yeah, I don't see how you go back after that.
There is no going back. I think if anything, you have to go with that now.
Yeah.
Because now that's what we expect.
Right.
If you don't, that's fine. If you want to go back to black leather, I'm okay with it. But
I'm okay with it, but after I'm just looking at that trailer, there's going to be an element of, that's kind of a downgrade.
Yeah, you've shown me what's possible.
Yeah, exactly.
You show me we could have electricity. Don't make me sit with a candle.
It's like when in that scene in the Flash movie where Batman pulls back the shelf and there's all the different costumes.
Yeah.
And there's the blue and gray, and I'm like, okay, well now I've seen it, and now I want it. So
You show me the thing, I want it. So
don't show me, like if Alexa Bliss shows up at my door and somebody says, "Sorry, this was just a joke," well, I'm gonna be disappointed. So same kind of deal with the X-Men. You can't give me yellow spandex and then pull it back. I'm sorry, you just can't.
Here's black leather. Enjoy.
Yeah, exactly.
The other rumor, and this one I like a lot because just give me more. The other rumor is that, again, because of the success of X-Men 97, they're speeding up production on the X-Men MCU movie. They're already looking for writers and directors, or a director, and that it might be slotted between the upcoming Avengers films, because, as we know, there's 2 Avengers films coming. One was supposed to be Kang Dynasty. I don't know if that's still what it is. And then the other one is it called Secret Wars?
Yeah.
So it would be slotted.
It'd
be slotted between those 2 films, which is pretty interesting if you think about it, because everybody's assuming Hugh Jackman's going to return again for Secret Wars, and it's not likely they will do an MCU X-Men without Wolverine. So that's kind of a thing there. Like, are you going to relaunch before, or how does that work?
It would be very interesting if, assuming, playing devil's advocate and assuming every rumor is true.
Yeah, assuming it's true.
In Secret Wars, if you have the new X-Men, the MCU X-Men.
MCU men, yeah.
Yeah, and a couple of the leftover, because the rumor is a couple of the leftover Fox X-Men are going to be in Secret Wars.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, on the one hand, it could be weird, but on the other hand, what better way to do a kind of passing of the torch and have people kind of okay with a new Wolverine if the current beloved person is there and there's a scene between the two that kind of does that without, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, look what I'm doing. You know what I mean? So it could be, right?
Yeah, I wouldn't be against that. I like the idea of the Wolverines passing the torch to each other.
Yeah.
But I just wonder if that would be too confusing for an audience. Because I think even
that's the kicker. That would be
we who follow it might not gel with us either.
Yeah. Like I could see 2 X-Men teams, multiversal X-Men teams fighting side by side and think that's cool. But
I can also see like Avengers versus X-Men.
Yeah. The general audience could look at that and say, I'm confused. But then again, they did see 3 Spider-Men on screen, and that was one of the biggest movies.
But to me, I think that was handled a little bit more delicately than this may be.
Right. Again, it's execution. That's what it boils down to, right?
Right. Everything is execution, but I like this rumor. I think more X-Men is good.
No, I mean, if we listen to me. It's past due. They've owned the X-Men now for how long?
Since I think 2019.
Yeah, okay, it's time. And the last X-Men proper film was Dark Phoenix, which was what, 2017, 18?
No, it was 2019.
Oh, it was 2019?
Yeah, it was. Okay. It sat on a shelf for a little bit, but it was released in 2019.
Okay, well, I mean, we're plenty of years removed from that, I think.
And I enjoyed that one.
Yeah, no, I do too. But by the time they prep and release the MC X-Men, enough time will have passed.
Oh, I agree. Yes.
That it's not an issue.
But even then, I think you show the audience a new X-Men team, and people will just they'll latch onto it.
Yeah.
People like the X-Men, I think.
Yeah.
And Dark Phoenix came out at a strange time. And it was with a cast people didn't really love, so maybe it was different. But it still made money for what it was.
You know what it is, too, with that? Like, everybody kind of knew at that point that Disney was going to take over, and this didn't really matter. It's the same hole that the DCEU was in. Once the DCU announcement was made, it was like, well, okay, this movie is here, these movies are here, but it doesn't matter because they're rebooting, they're doing something else with the same set of characters with different people. Why do I care about this anymore? It's that kind of.
And I think there's also an element when it comes to mainstream versus fans. I think, of course, the mainstream doesn't know; they don't follow stuff like we do,
Sure.
so they don't know what's sold, what's not sold. But what's more apt to talk about is that, like someone like you or I, we're going to tell a friend, "Hey, let's go see this movie,"
Yeah.
and they'll say, "Well, why?" And we can say, "Well, it's part of this, or it's that, it's that."
Yeah.
And if we happen to say, "Well, this is the end of the universe. This movie doesn't matter," well, then why should I go see it with you?
Right. Right.
I think that's also a thing. But let's hypothetically say the X-Men MCU Men comes out 26 or 27.
Right.
That's a good chunk of time. And MCU is going to attract quality talent. You're going to get good actors in these roles, popular actors.
Of course, yeah.
I mean, hypothetically, let's say you get Ryan Gosling as Cyclops. I'm just saying. I don't want it. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
That is an
You'll
automatic.
get somebody of that ilk, right?
That caliber.
Because you've seen it with Fantastic Four. Like they went and got
Exactly.
Pedro Pascal, right? So
You're going to get somebody of that caliber in that role. It's going to bring people to
you
it.
mean they're not going to cast some oft-mentioned guy that's on a TV show that nobody's ever heard of, just because fans keep wanting that?
Hey, we talking about Jensen Ackles?
No, we're not talking about Jensen Ackles. Some other guy I've never heard of that's supposedly going to be DCU Batman, but I don't know. Some guy I've never heard of. I literally can't remember the guy's name. That's how unknown he is.
Oh, okay. I don't know.
So I can't tell you. But the point that's the point I'm trying to make.
Yeah, they're going to go for high profile.
Especially with roles like whoever plays Wolverine. It's not going to be random new actor number 4.
No, it's going to be someone. I wouldn't be surprised if like a Zac Efron type.
Yeah, you can't in the wake of Hugh Jackman, and I get it. Hugh Jackman was random new actor number 4 when he was cast, but now Hugh Jackman is Hugh Jackman, and you can't follow that with, well, this guy was on on 3 soap operas in Scotland, and that's all he's done. Let's bring him in, right?
I like that logic, though.
It can't be done. I don't think. And if you look at the way the MCU has cast, they've gone for the bigger names. So
for the bigger characters they have, and I imagine it will be the same with the. I would think Scott, Storm, Jean, and Logan will all be name actors.
Yeah, and then the other ones they'll fill in with character actors and things.
Yeah, like the rest of them will be a mix, but those will be names. Even Charles might not be a name. I wouldn't be surprised if Charles Xavier is not a big name actor.
Well, I hope it's not Giancarlo Esposito, or else he's going to be walking around sprinting around the yard of the Xavier School for the Gifted. Yeah, but I mean, it's just the idea of getting to the live action X-Men sooner appeals to me. Provided they take due time to get the right writer and the right director, etc., etc. But again, I think Kevin Feige is a particular fan of the X-Men,
yes,
more so than a lot of other characters. So I think he's going to do his due diligence to make sure he has the right people for this.
Might be a little known fact. He was on set for the first film, and he was like secretly giving the actors the comics.
Yeah, and
because Singer did not want the comics on set. Feige was there. Hey, look at this. This is you.
Yeah.
So.
And wasn't he on the Raimi Spider-Man movies too?
I think so, but I believe he was more involved with X-Men. I think he is an X-Men guy.
Yeah. So, I mean, look, it's exciting. I hope that one is true. But at the end of the day, we're getting more X-Men 97, right? Because this has been a big success. And I heard something that they want to do the next 2 seasons back-to-back so that the wait time in between won't be as long. I'm for that. Just give me more of this. That's the gist of, I think, both of our opinions.
Just continue the quality.
Give me more, because this has been the shot in the arm that I think the MCU has needed. And I think the next thing we're going to talk about is also going to be the shot in the arm, another shot in the arm the MCU needs, and that is the brand new Deadpool and Wolverine trailer. This is a full trailer now, as opposed to the teaser that we got with this at the Super Bowl. So, Chris, with this full trailer, what do you think?
So, one of the things I love now after 2 trailers, I still don't understand what this movie's about.
Yeah, which is great.
Yeah, I have no idea. I mean, there's tons of rumors swirling around. It's this, it's that. I don't know. But based on the trailer, all I could tell you is it looks like a blast.
Yeah.
I'm getting Wolverine, so that's all I needed.
Yeah.
I like seeing Cassandra Nova. She's not my favorite villain, but it's cool to see her. And this trailer has some little cameos you could pick out if you pay attention.
Mm-hmm.
Some cool stuff, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And if I would say this though, this isn't a negative thing, but it kind of stuck with me. There's a lot of F-bombs in a matter of 2 minutes for this trailer.
Yeah, there was
a lot.
Yeah.
And I feel like, so when you read a Deadpool comic, Deadpool doesn't speak as Ryan Reynolds. He's got some language things, but not like that. And I'm kind of worried they're going to make Wolverine like that. And
yeah, there's I get what you're saying. It's almost like, well, now we're going to say swear words just because we can.
Yeah, it's rated R. Let's do it. Because like when you watch Logan, he swears quite a bit, but it's more organic, Whereas
it's situational, yeah.
Yes, it feels like it's just part of his normal vocabulary, which is different.
Yeah. I mean, that's the danger in that it could, and that was, again, the amount of times that the F-bomb was dropped reminded me of the first time, remember when they were advertising Titans on Netflix?
Yep.
And Robin says, F Batman?
Mm-hmm.
To which my first thought was, why?
Yeah.
Like, if Dick Grayson is pissed off at Bruce Wayne, there are different ways to show that than that.
Mm-hmm.
But because, again, it was on Netflix and the rating was a non-issue, it felt like we can, so let's do it. And every subsequent episode where there was swearing in Titans, that's what it felt like. So when I see this trailer, I mean, did I laugh when the first time I heard Hugh Jackman say, go, or let's effing go?
I love that, actually.
Yeah,
that
was fantastic.
I'm in
But
that.
I don't want to hear that for the whole 2 hour and
Mm-mm.
6 to 12 to 20 minute runtime, right? Because then I just watch a comedian comedy special on Netflix or something. And that's not what I'm there for. So
And it may just because it's a trailer. That's kind of what I'm saying. It's just because it's the trailer and they compiled it.
It might be a situation of let's reassure people that just because we're in the MCU and we're at Disney now, it's not going to be a sanitized version of Deadpool. Mm-hmm. That could be it.
Yeah, could be.
But just seeing them, the two of them, to me, they didn't even have to show me anything else other than the two of those guys interacting.
Right.
That sold it for me.
I didn't even need this trailer.
I was there regardless. But
I didn't need. But this, I do love the trailer. I think it's a blast.
And the thing that had me going, laughing and also wincing in pain, was when Wolverine stabs Deadpool in the nuts with the club. I'm like, oh, that hurts. But I was laughing at the same time, just because you felt that was a long time coming with the way Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool has been harassing Hugh Jackman to try and get him to pick up the claws again.
I think it's also a sign that we're going to see Wolverine get pretty violent.
Yes,
I'm excited for.
I mean, you can never have enough berserker rage moments.
And he looks so good in the suit. Like, even without the sleeves, and like his veins are popping. That's amazing.
Yeah. He
looks great.
He looks great in the yellow spandex to call back to the first X-Men. Yeah, I'm in for this movie. Like I said, I noticed the cameos. I won't spoil them for the people that didn't notice them. Hopefully they'll be surprised in the theater. I noticed the cameos. I like the cameos. And again, Cassandra Nova could be cool as a kind of Bizarro type of Charles Xavier villain,
Yeah, I'm curious how she's going to be used.
right? Apparently, she uses the wheelchair.
I saw that.
So,
And she lives in the helmet of Ant-Man.
yeah, which is I think that's a callback to the comic book Old Man Logan, right? I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, yeah, I'm all in for this, man. I can't wait till July. And it's coming out 2 days before my birthday too. So.
Oh, okay. It's like a little birthday present.
Birthday thing, yeah.
I don't know about you. I don't want another trailer.
No, I think we can leave it there. I don't know if they will, but
I imagine they'll have another one because we've had a Deadpool trailer, a Wolverine trailer. Now they're probably going to have one together, I would think.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't need it. I've seen what I needed to see. They're not going to show me the mask, I guess, until the movie. That's fine. But I think I'm good. I'm about as excited as I can be, which is disgusting.
Even if they just give you a still of the mask.
I would like a still. I don't need to see an emotion. Give me an actual still instead of art.
That'd be enough, yeah.
Because I'm convinced it's for one scene anyway.
Yeah, it'll probably be 5 minutes at the most. You see a minute, just
if that.
You have Hugh Jackman. They're going to want to show Hugh Jackman's face.
Yeah, but I mean, Ryan Reynolds hides his face.
Yeah,
it's only fair.
That's true. That is true. Yeah.
That's only fair, Hugh. But we'll see.
Yeah, but hey, listen, we've got him in the suit, so we'll take. We got him back at all, so we'll take that, and we got him in the suit, so we'll.
I'm not complaining.
Yeah, so I mean, we've got to count our blessings here, because
and they are aplenty.
Sometimes we don't get this rewarded. So, but yeah, we're all in for this. Can't wait. I think it's going to be a blast, and I think it's going to be a smash hit with general audiences. And that's much needed for both the MCU and the superhero genre as a whole. This film doing gangbusters would benefit the whole genre, not just the MCU. So let's.
It's needed. It's like it could hopefully be an adrenaline shot to the genre.
Right. Exactly. So looking forward to that, and we'll bring you more news on that if and when it materializes. But that's pretty much it for the news. So we'll take a quick break, and then on the other side we'll come back and talk X-Men 97 episodes 4 through 6. So stay tuned. We'll be right back.
What's up, everyone? It's the Emerald Enthusiast. For all of your multiverse viewing and listening needs, check out our shows, which include Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Ghostbusters, Power Rangers, the Marvel Universe, and the DC Universe, including the Emerald Echo podcast. You can check us out on Podbean, and remember to subscribe right here on YouTube. That's the Multiverse Musings Podcast Network. From the first podcast to the last.
And we're back, and as promised, we are going to continue our discussion about the currently on Disney Plus X-Men 97. Again, we left off with episode 3 last time, so we're going to pick things up with episode 4. So Chris, as you usually do, give us a bit of a rundown about what happened in this particular episode.
So episode 4 is split into 2 storylines. The first one shows us it's Jubilee's birthday. Her and Sunspot. That's his name, right? I always forget.
Yes. Yeah.
Because they haven't been calling him it, but her and Sunspot end up in a video game that is controlled by Mojo. So we get to see the return of everybody's favorite X-Men villain, Mojo. The second half deals with Storm and Forge trying to get her powers back, which I think is a very uneven episode, which we'll get to. But that's the gist of what this one is about.
Okay, so the whole aspect of them essentially getting sucked into the video game and having to play their way through that. I mean, there were elements that were very derivative in the sense that it felt like a mix, some hodgepodge of Jumanji meets Inception.
That is what it was.
Right? But with that, there is some cool things. And the cool things is there in this universe there's an X-Men video game. That's very meta, and I like that.
I also like that the game cartridge is the cover for, I believe it's X-Men Clone Wars.
Yeah.
The game.
Yeah.
That was such a cool touch.
Right. Yeah, I did dig that. And again, the moments where you see the X-Men characters in the game, it's a very, like, they're almost taking you through, you know, quintessential ideas and visuals that you have of the X-Men are playing out in this, you know, in the scenes where they're there in the video game.
Well, it also mirrors the old arcade game.
Yeah, yeah.
Which is, I think that was so cool to me.
Right, and the other thing I liked about that is how the animation style shifted to when they were in the game.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it looked more like the graphics of the games, you know. You know, and I dig that. Like, I have a lot of respect for, you know, animators when they can, you know, in the same episode, or if we're talking about artists in a comic, when they can switch up their art style to tell one story.
Mm-hmm.
I think that takes a lot of skill. So I commend that, and the fact that it actually looked like video game graphics was pretty damn cool.
Seeing Magneto do the electromagnetic ball thing was the best, because in the game, you know, he's a pain in the ass. So you see that's like, I remember this.
Yeah.
Just nostalgia.
So I mean, so there were some cool stuff, like we mentioned, but on the whole, it was derivative of, like I said, like an Inception and Jumanji type of story. But I think we needed that kind of a break and a more light episode, in light of what we've been seeing in the first three and what we would eventually see in five, which we'll talk about. So I think this more lighthearted aspect of this episode was needed, even though it may have not been the home run that the previous three were. What did you think of the portion of the episode of Storm getting her powers back, or on the journey to getting her powers?
This is why it's uneven to me. The Storm part of the episode, I think, is fantastic.
Yeah,
I would say the Jubilee half of it is good. Storm's is fantastic.
Agreed. Yeah.
The thing that they're doing with Storm is so fascinating in a way, because I don't think any of us expected them to take Storm off the board the way they did.
No.
And to see her working toward coming back is really cool to see. I love the way that they're working for Jin. And visually, it presents some cool stuff, because it takes them out of the city in what looks like a desert, I guess. Yes. Although they're in Texas, which is kind of funny to me. So you see a lot of cool visuals, and you get a lot of great character work. Mm-hmm. And even the giant demon, I thought it was the Shadow King, but then we found out it wasn't. So it was a little like, oh, that kind of sucks. But what it is still really cool. Oh,
it was fantastic to watch, and like, just the interactions between the two. These characters, they just work well together. They fit well together. And the other thing I'm glad about too is, I'm glad they didn't keep Storm off the board for too long, because I don't know how plausible that would have been to me.
Well, I mean, and this is something I wanted to mention toward the end of the discussion, but maybe we'll just do it now. The show has really done a good job of establishing that the X-Men are not just Wolverine.
Right.
Wolverine is just part of the team. And so, you know, it's showing you the leads are really everybody in their own capacity, and Storm is a huge deal. Yes. So I love that she's getting her own storyline. You know? So that's another thing I really like what they're doing with her specifically.
Especially given in the fact that in live action she's been shortchanged.
She has.
So to see her be, propped up and highlighted and focused on, it's a nice change of pace, and it's also a reminder of just how powerful she really is.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So, and I don't know about you, but while I'm watching the Storm bits, I'm like, I don't know, like, I get that she may not be able to act, but I kept visualizing Jade Cargill as I was seeing the Storm stuff.
She cosplays as Storm.
Yeah, which is something I just found out, and I'm like, I mean, if you just give her some acting lessons, it's right there.
I'd actually seen her cosplay before I knew who she was. I was like, who's Jade Cargill? Oh, it's Storm. Okay, cool. But of course, now I know who she is.
Yeah.
Her Storm looks really good. I heard that she likes the idea of it. So.
Yeah, I mean, and listen, WWE can be a good training ground for acting, given some of the stuff they have to do, character-wise. So who knows?
We'll see.
But listen, last time they gave us an Oscar winner, and that was, I mean, she's a great actress, Halle Berry, but the material didn't do her any favors sometimes. So I mean, just you can have all the acting experience in the world, if the material in there doesn't matter. There's only so much an actor can do. Again, see Halle Berry as Storm, see George Clooney as Batman, right? Who knows? But we'll see. I just that's something that I kept seeing.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, but I agree with you. It was uneven in the sense that because the Storm stuff felt like a continuation of what we had been seeing through 3 episodes.
Right.
Like tone wise, animation
Jubilee was
stuff.
a departure.
Yeah, Jubilee felt like a departure, which isn't a bad thing. It just would have been better if it was its own episode, like they were both their own episodes.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. But is there anything we missed that you think we should mention?
No, this is a quick one. I think, there's not really much to say about the Jubilee part of it. At least it's a quick story. It's kind of fun. It is derivative. It's cool seeing Spiral. The older Jubilee was neat, although I don't totally get it.
I was a little confused there.
Yeah, I don't really want to revisit this storyline, so I think it's done anyway. And then, of course, the Storm stuff was awesome.
Right. All right. So then let's give it a letter grade.
I'm gonna go with a B for this one.
Yeah, that's a fair assessment. I'll give it a B as well. Again, mainly just because the tones of the episode were uneven.
Mm-hmm.
And it did feel like 2 stories crammed into one.
Two stories that I don't think should have been crammed into one.
Which is very familiar with me and the X-Men, because I think I said the same thing. I mean, we haven't reviewed it, but my thoughts on X-Men The Last Stand are that it's 2 storylines that could have been their own movie, smashed together. So it seems like it's par for the course with X-Men.
It fits.
Yeah. So it's a B from both of us then. All right. Episode 5. What's going on here?
This is the juggernaut of the season so far.
And he wasn't even in it. Yeah.
He was not. So this one's titled Remember It. And you will remember this one.
Oh, yeah.
The gist of it is the UN is recognizing Genosha as part of the United Nations, which is pretty cool. So as that's going on, Magneto, Rogue, and Gambit travel to Genosha to sort things out there. While at the X-Mansion, you have some of the X-Men being interviewed for TV to kind of smooth things over on that front as well.
Right. This episode shocked me because I didn't expect. I don't know why, given the first 3 episodes, I didn't expect this, but it was emotionally deep and just overall gut-wrenching. And it was action-packed, but still. I think it's interesting that, the UN has chosen Magneto to be sort of the
council chose Magneto.
right, the council to be the representative, or the
Mm-hmm.
head, the leader for the mutants, which is, and it's talked about in the episode where given everything he's done, how could they appoint him as the man in charge? So I like that question. It's a question I had as an audience member, and I like that question was addressed in story. And I think it wasn't the UN that kind of signed off on that, provided that you bring in another.
Well, the council. So the way it works in the episode is Magneto was reluctant to do it because he knows his own history.
Yeah.
And he signs on only if they allow.
He suggests, Rogue. Yeah, right. Which it was Rogue.
And then we see Miss Cooper, who reminds me a lot of Grace Randolph for some reason, is kind of shocked about the Rogue inclusion.
Yeah. And then so Rogue was going to do it.
Mm-hmm.
But then we have that talk about her with her and Gambit, and they confront they tackle the Magneto question head on.
Yeah, we get the backstory of their interactions and stuff.
Yeah, because so she kind of comes clean and they hash that out. So it felt like this was like an X-Men tell-all, right? Because you're getting the stuff at the mansion where they're trying to smooth things over with the public, but actually it's kind of like, it's almost like the way it's being presented is kind of like more of a smear campaign, and it's like it's doing more harm than good, right?
Yeah.
And then here you have the stuff with Rogue and Gambit. So it's like all that was missing was like Jerry Springer and some chairs, and the way we would have gone. But so there's that, but there's the moment also when we still think Rogue is going to do it, and she comes down. She makes her big entrance. But then through her talk with Magneto, she kind of rebukes him in a way, right?
I think she realizes what she's done at that point. And so this is not the same. It's not what I want. Yeah, which is fair.
So it looks like maybe there could have been a path for Rogue and Gambit, to reconnect and reunite. Mm-hmm. But that's all blown to smithereens, literally, because there's an attack and
chaos ensues.
Like I'm trying to recall an episode of an animated series where I've seen that much disaster, destruction, and death.
So I was thinking that too, because X-Men 97, I think from the first episode showed us this is not kids television.
Yeah.
And then this episode solidifies that this is not kids television.
Right.
Which in a way is kind of an odd thing, because you think about it, well, I watched the original as a kid.
Yeah. And
so this episode, like you said, in anime you see this type of destruction.
Yeah.
But as like a regular animated series that would have aired on Saturday morning or something, this was unheard of.
Yeah.
And also the themes they play with. This isn't just, bad guy versus good guy and vice versa. This is adult themes they're playing with. This is, relationships and loss and grief, things like that.
Yeah, and then also
like Cyclops grieving Nathan.
Yeah, and also the genocide of a people. It's like you can apply it to real world kind of things. Like we're seeing the destruction of all the mutants in Genosha, right? At this point,
it's a massacre.
Right. So I I don't want to trivialize real life stuff, but it kind of ties in. You know how the X-Men movies tie themselves to the Holocaust?
Yeah.
This is a kind of a similar level of death and destruction of a people, albeit in the real world that was a much longer, drawn-out process, and here it's just more immediate and like in your face. But you know that kind of, so it kind of like went for the X-Men, kind of went full circle, because the X-Men you're introduced with, that you know we're most familiar with, are the movies which had the Holocaust, you know, backdrop.
That Holocaust opening.
Yeah, and then you have this that is a different form of a destruction of a people and the destroying of a people. So it was, this animated series is as heavy as the live action stuff we've seen, if not more so at this point.
I was gonna say, I would say this is more so. Something about it, it hits differently, and I don't know why, but it feels more real than the movie for some reason.
Yeah,
and it makes me even question: can a movie top this? And that may be overselling it, but what they do in this episode is huge. They reel you in and they punch you in the gut. You feel it.
Absolutely.
And you buy it. And the destruction, they didn't hold back. Like, you see dead bodies everywhere.
Yeah, and the worst part is, one of the people that dies is Gambit. In a very sacrificial way to save others. You know, he that happens to him, but I don't know. I wasn't expecting him to be taken off the board, so it was shocking when it happened. But again, it shows you. This episode shows you that, look, you may think your favorite is safe because it's a cartoon, and that may lull you into some sort of false sense of, well, it's a big name X-Men. They can't kill him off. And it's like, well, we'll hold our beer and we'll show you. But yeah, and then, you know, Rogue's holding him and her tears at the end were really a powerful visual.
And the fact when they play the last bit of the line, it's a black screen.
Yeah.
That was strong.
I mean, I think this episode broke me emotionally. But just as poignant, I think, was Beast when he was doing that interview. He kind of had this resigned sadness, depression. That, you know, here we are trying to right the ship with humanity, and you guys are turning it around and making us look even worse. So it's like, was Charles Xavier's dream of unity ever even really possible? And so for him to be questioning that and doubting it is really powerful.
I actually think the TV interview part gets overshadowed because of Genosha stuff.
Yeah.
But the TV interview, or just the X-Mansion stuff, is really, really good stuff. Like,
it is.
Scott's breakdown on camera is fantastic.
Yeah.
I love that. And then another thing that really stood out for me is when Jean kisses Logan, and Logan knows it's wrong, even though that's what he's been wanting, and he walks away from it.
Yeah, the fact that he was the one to pull back and say no.
Yeah.
I like that.
I did too.
Because he could have just been all in and said, yeah.
I like this one. This is better than
Scott can go with the other one, since that's the mother of his child, right?
Right, he can go kick a bucket.
Well, no, he has the other.
Well, he had.
Well, yeah, that's
as Cable says, sorry, Mom.
Yeah, that's also true. And even that realization, you know, Cable, that comes later, though, right? That's how
Well, that's in this episode.
Oh, this is.
They're well. So
You know
Cable
what I'm talking
tells.
about? The part that.
Yeah.
That's
Cable
what
does
right?
go to Madeline and say, "Sorry, Mom."
Yeah, but no, I'm talking about something else.
No, that's another thing.
Okay, so I won't bring that up. But
That's another thing. But I mean, if you're a fan of this stuff, you know who Cable is.
Yeah, obviously.
I don't think it's a spoiler, but if it is a spoiler,
but I don't want to talk about that until we.
Yeah. No, I know what you mean.
That's why I'm delaying.
Yeah.
I'm not delusional in thinking that there. Well, I mean, to be.
No. There are people who didn't know. There are people who don't know.
Okay, then I won't say anything.
There are people who don't know.
Okay. Then I won't prejudge and assume.
I didn't realize that myself until about a week ago.
Okay, all right, okay. Then I won't go further with that.
Yeah, we'll leave that be for now.
You know how we said in episode 4 was like 2 episodes that were crammed together?
Yeah.
This whole thing, but it worked differently. It worked better. It flowed better.
Well, the tone was the same.
The tone was the same throughout. But these 2 plot lines, the interview at the X mentioned and the stuff on Kenosha, could have made up 2 episodes themselves.
Mm-hmm. I would have been happy with that.
I loved what we got, but part of me wanted more time in both scenarios.
I would have liked to see more interviews. At the same time, I would have liked to see more of the life on Genosha, because
before it got decimated.
Well, yeah, before it gets decimated, because like the look that we get, it looks pretty cool. Everybody's happy.
I'd go there.
It's fun. I've been making the joke with my friends. Poor Leech.
Yeah.
Leech like Magneto's gonna save us, and then who ends up? Magneto vaporizes you.
Yeah.
He was holding on to him for dear life, and he gets vaporized.
Yeah.
Poor Leech.
But
little bastard.
Yeah. Is there anything else we missed that you think we should cover?
This episode is powerful. I adore it, and I think so. I know a lot of people write off animated series because they're animated. I do the same thing. I love Star Wars. I don't want to watch the animated stuff. It's just not for me. But this is a special series. This particular episode, well, to me it's special. This particular episode is like the stamp on that. So, I love it.
Yeah, I think it was, and this is no pun intended, no alliteration intended. But this episode was truly exceptional.
Mm-hmm.
And there are certain episodes and certain shows that I think are hallmarks of their shows. This is one for this show, at least up to this point. To me, it's in the same. Like, I hold this episode and Heart of Ice for Batman the Animated Series.
Oh, okay.
On the same pedestal. I think both are that good.
Okay.
So that if I had one episode of each show to sell the quality and integrity of the show to somebody that's never seen it, those were the 2 from each show that I'd show them.
I can agree with that.
Look at the quality of storytelling and acting in both of these shows. Yeah,
I would agree with that. They are on the same level. I would even say the Two-Face two-parter in that category.
That one too, yeah. But I'm like, one. If I had to pick one that stands out, automatically, I'd pop in and show somebody. It would be these 2. So that's how good I think it is. I guess we can go ahead and rate it, even though I think everybody knows where we're going to go with our rating. But Chris, go ahead.
I say F.
For fantastic.
It is a hard A+ for me.
Yeah, there's no other rating than A+. And if you rate
it's a strong A+.
If you rated anything less than A+, I am going to judge you a little bit.
I just want to know why. We can talk about it.
Yeah, we'll
discuss it.
But yeah, so A+ there. All right, so final episode of the day for both of us is episode 6. Tell us what's going on here, Chris.
So this episode is called it's Life Death Part 2, so it continues the storyline of Storm that we got in episode 4. It's her Forge versus the demon, essentially, the demon owl. But we also get some stuff with Charles and Lilandra in space, which I was not expecting. So you get to see that it's, again, 2 storylines that But again, with this one, the tones match.
Yes.
So it's still an even episode, and both storylines are really, they have their highlights, I would say.
I think what's cool about, the whole Storm, battling the demon to get her powers back and all that jazz. I think what's interesting about that is that there's a hero's journey that she has to go on, right?
Mm-hmm.
And also discover herself, who she is with and without her powers, and how. And I think again, what I came away with, even though we get her with her powers finally in this episode, they come back to her, but what I take away from it is that Storm as a character is a badass with or without her powers.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't wait to see her reunited with her team in light of what's happened. I think she is going to be a force in helping them handle this situation and moving forward. So, again, really happy she's back on the board. The Charles Xavier stuff was so sci-fi.
Yeah.
It was good, but it felt like, the tones were similar, but it almost felt like I was watching a different show.
Space politics that was a surprise. Yes,
the space politics like a hybrid of Star Wars and Star Trek. It was like, all right.
Yeah, very Star Trek-like.
Yeah, because there's a lot of talking, and they're trying to rationalize, and he's trying to drive a point home and trying to get them to see their,
the error of their ways or whatnot.
I mean, it was cool that he was teaching a class in, space kind of thing.
Yeah.
The void, if you will, or whatever.
I was going to say, in space, then in the void of space, and then the void of the mind. It was a lot.
Yeah, it was another level of Inception.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if Christopher Nolan got any royalties for these couple of episodes.
I hope so.
But so that was kind of cool. Like, I'm like, if I had to, I'd like to take a class taught by Charles Xavier. Mm-hmm. I think is what I came out,
demerits
out of this. Yeah, came out of this thinking, but I loved how in the end he was so loyal to the X-Men that he couldn't go through with the mind. I'm going to call it the mind meld, just to call it that. But the mind meld to have him forget about his, earthly existence. Like, he couldn't go through it because when he was in the astral plane, he got hit with what was going on, and he saw that they were in need of him. So he needs to get back to Earth.
Yeah, I think it was a zombie gambit or something that came to him.
Yeah, so I like that his loyalty was shown here, especially given to how loyal the X-Men are to trying to achieve his vision of unity.
Yeah, but I got to be honest with this one. I would have rather not seen Charles.
Oh yeah, same.
I enjoyed the episode quite a bit. I'm going to give it a high grade again. But I like the idea that this is a world without Xavier for right now. And I think seeing him kind of broke that illusion. Like, okay, well, we know he's coming back. I would have waited until the finale or something to bring him in. Because now I imagine an episode, I think we're on 8 currently. Yep. I think he's probably going to be back.
Yeah, I would assume so. Yeah, they could have structured it differently so that episode 10 would have brought about his return.
Yeah, we didn't need the explanation.
And they could have dealt with flashbacks to explain, like he could have told him the story
right
in season 2, episode 1.
Exactly.
So I agree with you there. But yeah, any other specifics you want to call on?
Again, I love the story between Storm and Forge. Yeah. I think that is so well crafted. I love, again, that they're doing these great scenes here. And it is really cool to see her spawn that new costume.
Yeah.
I love that particular costume. I think
too.
it looks great in comics, looks great in animation now. I also think it's kind of funny that it just like appears on her skin. That's kind of different. Nanotech, I guess. I don't know, but that's something. But that's really cool, and we say it's like a Star Trek episode, but the visuals in space were really, really well done. I thought it was cool, and I liked the predicament they gave Charles, because on one hand, it would have made sense if he said, "Yeah, erase my memories. I'm a space dude now. I'm Captain Picard." I get it.
Well, yeah, which is the other reason I thought of Star Trek, because I'm like, it's Picard.
Right, yeah, it's like Picard. Okay, cool. He can walk now too. He's happy as shit. Got it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's the cool thing about the ultimatum that he was given. You can see both sides of it. Do I abandon my family? Do I make a new family? And then I won't even remember the old one anyway, so no harm, no foul. So I really, really liked the ultimatum they presented him with. I liked the way it was handled. I love that he had to basically realize, hey, I'm Charles Xavier. I'm the mental guy here. I can get in your heads.
He's the real mentalist. Never mind that show that was on TV there.
Yeah, never mind. He is the mentalist. So I just really enjoyed all of it. This is another solid episode. Maybe not as solid as 5 or 3 or even 1. Because I think those have been the top episodes, 1, 3, and 5.
No, it's a strong episode, but
yes.
not like great. Like those ones are great. This is strong.
Right.
Now all I can think of, now that I said the real mentalist, all I can think of is a live-action Disney Plus series called X-Men: The Mentalist, a Charles Xavier story, and just have it.
I'd watch the shit out of it.
And have it be the origins of Charles Xavier.
Well, I mean, you have Legion.
I know, but that was so.
It's
that was so awkward and weird.
Was it? I haven't seen it.
I watched it and I was confused. I still am confused. And
okay.
It's been long off the air, but I still don't know what happened. Yeah, it was. I mean, if you're gonna watch it, I'd probably recommend getting high before watching it, just because you might understand it. Because I certainly didn't, and I was sober and firmly not high. So maybe if you are, that might help you. But yeah, I'm confused. But yeah, point is, if Kevin Feige wants to greenlight that, I'd watch it. The origin of Charles Xavier show, 6 episodes. I'd watch it. But yeah, I agree with you. A really strong episode. But it's look, any episode following up 5 was going to have its work cut out for it. This was really solid.
I think they're structured in a way so we get a breather after each big episode,
which you need. You definitely need that. So, but with that, I guess we'll do our rating.
You go first because I'm torn on this one.
All right, I'll give it a solid A-. Just because, like I said, the arrangement of when this reveal of Charles Xavier happened is not where I would like it to be. But the stuff we got was still really good in that aspect of it. The Storm stuff is fantastic.
I think I'd give it just a A.
Okay.
I think just A, because I do like both parts, and they are tonally similar enough to where it doesn't feel jarring, and both storylines are good.
Yeah, I agree.
But again, sort of uneven because the Storm stuff is better.
Yeah.
Storm versus a giant owl demon is just fantastic.
That's cool. Yeah, there's just.
I just like the visual.
Doesn't get much cooler than that, right? So
no.
It's but I think the bottom line is, as we wrap up here, we love this show, and
yes,
when a B is your worst episode, and it was still really good, considering you're on a good track. So if they keep up this trajectory, we'll be good for the rest of the season and beyond. But that'll bring the episode to a close. We'll be back with our next batch of episodes, which will be 7, 8, and 9, and then we're going to do a solo episode of just the finale because we're placing our bets that that's going to be a really good episode, and it'll probably deserve its own, separate episode to itself. So, Marvel Studios, if you want to drop some news, be it X-Men related or Fantastic Four related or, heaven forbid, Blade related, when we do that episode 10, we'll have time to talk about it. So whatever you want to throw at us, we'll take it. Except the cancellation of the Blade movie. I won't accept that. I won't accept that news. So don't drop that. Don't drop that shit on us because
is it even real anyway, though?
Well, until we see it, no. But there's been some positive momentum, shall we call it?
Is there?
Whatever.
I don't know.
Is it really? You're the Game of Thorn and Bruce Banner. But yeah, so that's what we'll be covering next episode. Another 3 episodes. So be on the lookout for that. But until next time, you can always keep in touch with Chris and I regarding the X-Men on social media. Chris, where do they follow you?
You guys can follow me at thatchris70. All the stuff I do is on there. I talk a lot about a bunch of shit, so you can check me out there.
And with me, you can follow at Adam_LeafsFan on Twitter. We have a Facebook group for the podcast network. It should be in the description below. Click that. I will add you, and we can continue the conversation there if you so choose. But until next time, X-Men 97 is forever. From the first death on Genosha, from the first traumatizing death on Genosha to the last. So long, everybody.